we want the lovely girl to play. I don't think we should play right now. We'll wait a
We,
little bit.
we
Yeah.
have a couple hands raised. Elena, I saw we've seen Elena in her 12 steps. Welcome, Elena.
All right,
Go
good.
ahead.
So let me just put a little presentation of the idea of non-duality. You could really just know all you need to know about non-duality is just see the definition of not two. Yeah. Not, non means not, and duality is two-ness. And then there's a dualism that's really exactly where we're standing as an action figure. There's a dualism going on. Which comes first? Is there the perception of duality, or is the perception of duality based on seeing from a dualism? I would say it's seeing from a dualism. Yep. So the dualism would be the basic one of subject-object. But if you look at your own experience, or let's say the narration of experience here, you can feel sometimes you're being thought about by your head, the head, and sometimes you're cast as the thinker. So on one level, you'd be seen as the subject, and then in a second later, you're seen as an object. And that flips around all day, the subject-objectness. What non-duality is, in a sense, is just a statement negating that. Negating, not denying it, not getting in a fight with it, not having a dispute with it, just negating it. And so basically, it's the flagship shoe in this spiritual shoe store. Now, there's a lot of other shoes you can put on, but that's basically the shoe, yeah, is not two. So the duality, again, is subject, object, yes, no, this, that, hot, cold, day, night. There's all of these seemingly polarities where there's one and it can't be one without the other. So there's this movement. All right. So, and if you're interested in the ideas today, we have a website, zenbitchslap.com. And if there's a taking offense to the name, ask who is it that takes offense to the name. You might as well use it to see if there's anyone there. And then also we're on YouTube quite a lot, and this will go up on YouTube. So basically that's that. Now, the way I see it is the emphasis is not really on non-duality. The emphasis is on duality. And that you'll find out what you are by actually seeing the activity that presents what you're not. Yep. And the most important aspect of the message is how or from where are we hearing it from. So we had the old story, we've used it quite a lot. I'll give you a condensed version of the lion sheep. And what we're implying, what non-duality is implying, not non-duality, what teaching of duality is implying is that there's an act of being identified, let's say as a mental image or as an action figure. Some people would say as a body. But there's an act of being identified with something that we're actually not. Yeah. And in the identification with that which we're something that we're not, there's a seeming forgetting of what we are. Yeah. It can't produce a forgetting, but it appears that we, as what we are, has forgotten that by being identified as what we're not. So there's an activity that's constantly in that act of being identified as what you're not. And it isn't you. Yeah. It's a mental activity, and the mental activity, at no matter what time the attention and interest goes there, or if you want to call it the consciousness, no matter when or what time the consciousness goes there, you will find the mental process in the act of being identified as a self. Yeah. So there'll be the sense of the seeing will be sort of underemphasized, and then what will be emphasized is the seer seeing. Yeah. So the seeing would be, let's say, an activity that you would call not two. So there's verbing, but there's no noun. Yeah. So there's seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. Yeah, and that's all there is. Seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. Yeah. There's a verb. Now, the mental state, based on its predilection of this duality, when it comes in contact with the seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, it looks to find a seer and a seen in the seeing. Yeah? It looks to find a hearer and the heard in the hearing. It looks to find a feeler and the felt in the feeling. Yeah. So basically, the activity of consciousness in contact gets moved, the emphasis or the attention on that gets moved to the attention of an interpretation, a dualistic interpretation of what's happening. Yeah? So basically, the seeing is obviously before the seer and seen, obviously. So the seeing is more of what we are, or it's basically, see, we're never really at a place, it's verbing, so we're always moving, so you can't plant a flag and say, that's me, that's where I am. There's just activity, moving, in maybe a huge space of stillness, yeah? So the message isn't so much, because let's say you go to a meeting and they say, hey, bro, you're a lion, yeah? And then they go to everyone in the room, you're a lion, you're a lion, you're a lion. And the person who's pointing is in the certainty that they're a lion. Now, I don't see them as a lion, I see them as a sheep because I'm looking from a sheep, yeah? So the lion doesn't get through the lion of Paul because the mental programming is sort of intercepting the message and putting it into the framing of being a sheep, yeah? So the lion, the idea of there's not much confusion between you're a lion and I'm a lion, therefore we're lions, let's say. The confusion comes from when the one lion, being identified as a sheep, hears the message, you're a lion, from that which is identified as a lion, not identified as a lion, is a lion, even though there's an appearance of being a sheep. That message gets missed. It doesn't work. Yeah, because there would, if this obscuring activity wasn't going on, non-duality would have ended in the first minute of the first meeting. Yeah, you would have got it. the whole confusion would have been seen as impossible, first of all, and it's like the Course in Miracles says, a correction of what never needed to be corrected, yeah? So basically, you're a lion, no matter how much you think or believe you're a sheep, you are a lion, yeah? So, but the message, you're a lion, isn't getting through to the lion. So I'm more interested in what blocks the message off. I don't want to hear any more descriptions of myself as a lion because I'm hearing it from a sheep identity, yeah? So when I get descriptions of what I am and I'm hearing it from what I'm not, all that what I'm not does is conceptualizes that, yeah? Which burdens it even more. So the knowledge, if the more knowledge we have about what we really are, held as what we're not, is a bigger disservice. There's more weight, yeah? So this is the whole dilemma, that if you use what you are, masquerading as what you're not, to look for what you are, it's a blindness that you are that what you are that you're looking for. Yeah, it's just that way it goes. The blindness gets developed and reinforced by using what you are to look for what you are. And there's no way you can get out of this little thumb thing. There's no way. The beautiful thing is you're not really in it, yeah? You're not a sheep. You are a lion. No matter if you thought you've been a sheep for 80 years and every other sheep thinks you're a sheep, and you have pictures of you as a sheep, and you're worrying about you as a sheep in the future, it doesn't matter. You're not a sheep. You are inherently a condition of, I'm using an example of lioness, yeah? It doesn't matter. But you're an inherent condition that can't be erased or hidden or obscured. It can only seem to be hidden and obscured, yeah? That's the good news. So if you start seeing the activities that are constantly implying a you, referring to a you, assuming a you, supposing a you, reinforcing a you, if you see all that is activity, there is no you being reinforced. There's a reinforcing of a you. There's no you that's getting reinforced. There's no self that's being obsessed over. There's obsession with self. And that obsession with self implies the self that you believe you're obsessed over. Yeah? We might as well get the horse in front of the cart. You might as well see actually what's happening instead of trying to live by an interpretation of what's happening, and it's a dualistic interpretation. And it's not going to recognize a verb without putting a noun on it. It's not. Yeah? And that two-ness is not going to get into oneness. It's too fucking big. It can't fit in. Yeah? So something, and more talks based on still reinforcing the sheep. The talks themselves will reinforce the sheep. Yeah? All the talks we go about lions are actually being used by the mental state to reinforce the sheep. Yeah? So now the sheep more and more and more wants to become like a lion. It can't entertain that it is a lion because it's busily entertaining it's a sheep. Yeah? So it can't entertain it's a lion. It can't get it. It cannot get it, the message. It cannot get the message. Yeah. Just fucking give up the ghost. It's not going to happen. You're not going to be there to experience your own absence. It's not going to happen. Yeah? So this is really, the awakening we're hoping to see is a rude awakening to fundamentally really grok the inability of what you're using to find yourself, because you're using what you are literally to find what you are. Yeah? And you are that. Yeah? Now, if you were using what you are to find anything else that it wasn't, far out. That would be okay. But you can't use what you are to find what you are. It just doesn't work. So let's look at duality. You can't study non-duality. Yeah? You can't get non-duality. What you get is duality. What you understand is the fundamental conundrum of what Ramana, I feel, was implying by saying, hey, there's a presupposing of a non-existent thing. What is it being presupposed as? An existent thing. Yeah. There's a presupposing of a non-existent thing to be existing, and then wanting to get salvation for the non-existent thing. Now, a lot of us are in that state without knowing it, yeah? And he says, if that's the case, without knowing it, he doesn't say this, but just that as the basis, if you're seeking salvation for this, yeah, you're not knowing the conundrum, yeah? You're acting out the conundrum. So there's this presupposing of a non-existent thing, wanting to get salvation for the non-existent thing. If that's what's happening, your spiritual practices themselves are reinforcing the non-existent thing. How can they destroy it? That's the second big shoe you put on, yeah? Put that shoe on. If it fits, wear it. It's going to reveal quite a lot. If it doesn't fit, don't worry, you'll be back sooner or later, and it's going to fit, yeah? Because whatever you do, whatever failed system we use is going to fail us, and that's the way it's going to be successful, yeah? It's going to literally fail us. We'll be so fucking disappointed that the system itself will have a pause, and in that second, you'll see the failure of the system you're relying on, yeah? You will. Yeah. And then suddenly that evasive, very difficult to capture and get and stabilize is always available at all times. Yeah? Because a simple correction, yeah? Now you hear the message, you're a lion, and you hear it as a lion, yeah? It's just, and so you don't go to a meeting to hear about being a lion. You go to a meeting to hear about not being a sheep. Yeah, because that's the value, so that you can recognize the sheeping from the lion instead of trying to become the lion from the sheeping. Yeah, it's just that simple. It's just a simple correction, and then things are clear. It just makes fucking final sense. You've tried so many equations and shifting this and shifting that, and you finally, something occurred and it locked in. And you see the primary number in this world is zero, not one. Zero. Zero. Yeah? So the one trying to get the zero is just more one. Yeah? You just see that you're not the one from the zero. Yeah? And then the correction is available, and no matter how much huffing and puffing and belief that you are the obscuring agent, you're blocking the sunlight of the spirit, the shit's gonna drop away. It can't, without your battery, without your juice, it can't keep projecting its fucking movie. Yeah? The cranking of the projector starts missing, and there's big gaps of obviousness. Yeah? And you're onto something. So you just, why not stay there? Yeah. Unless you love movement, I mean, it's nice to rest. So our whole emphasis isn't on the message of non-duality. It's on seeing we're not that which takes itself to be dual. Yeah, that's all. And if you negate that, then you'll find out what you are. You're never going to understand what you are. You're going to understand what you're not, really. Yeah? You're not going to experience what you are. You experience what you're not all day. You don't need to study what you are. It's maybe helpful to study what you're not, so that you see you're not that. Yeah? That's the whole point. I just felt like well, I just didn't feel this was being emphasized enough. I think it's very, very important, because the mental state is so fast, probably less than a second and a half, maybe even less than a second. When there's a conscious contact with some event here, it claims to be the one. It's just, and I don't think you can meditate yourself out of the meditator. I don't think you can do yourself out of the doer. I don't think you can see yourself out of the seer, really. Yeah. But if someone or somehow you hear a certain amount of information, and then you put those temporary glasses on, and you start seeing what you were just lazily taking to be representative of you, when you start seeing it in a different light, you'll see it's not you. And then you'll realize the futility of trying to understand that which understands everything, trying to know that which is all-knowing, yeah? Because you are that which you want to know. You are the all-knowing, and then from this identification as what you're not, you want to know that from this. It's crazy, yeah? And this is not an experience. It isn't. It's before experience. It will influence your experiences from this point on, but you're never going to have an experience of what you are. Yeah? You can think you had one as what you're not, but you're not going to have an experience of it, because you are it. You are it. Yeah? It doesn't mean you are it after 30 years of sacrifice and working hard. No, you are it. Yeah? So, all right, that's it.
Thanks, Paul. Sunil has his hand
I
up.
can go on for hours now. I finally found the right seating.
Comfortable?
My ass is comfortable. Yes.
No, just quietly. Okay.
I have all this. Never mind. All right. Okay, do you want to have some music now? The lovely lady's been dying to start playing.
Okay, and then Sunil will be after that. Okay.
Please, yeah. So, Mike, you just run it. I'm not the orchestra person. Just.
Oh yeah, so is Sunny ready to do that?
You ready, Sonny? Unleash her. Come on.
All right, so here you go, Ria. Thank you, Paul.
We have a lovely daughter of one of our friends here. She's going to play some piano for us for a little while. As we do, there's going to be a screen, a little thing on the bottom of it. Donate, 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 donate.
To Rhea. Donate to Rhea.
Like a Jerry Lewis telethon. All right.
Uh, actually, I don't. Okay, so I don't really play piano like well enough to play well enough like live. So I'll just play little snippets of my composition.
Yes,
That
great.
I won't play the whole thing, but I'll play some of them. This one I came up with.
You have to be loud.
Yeah, this one I came up with a really long time ago, but I've never been able to finish it, and I don't know why. But okay. Uh,
Nice.
I tried. Yay!
Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
One more. Uh, okay, this one. I'll see if I can remember.
These are her compositions. So she's not as good of a player as she is a composer, but when her friends play, it sounds beautiful.
No, even what came across was beautiful. And I left you a note, Sonny, to check about a sound setting. And actually, I tried muting me and Paul to help bring the sound through better. I'm trying to find Paul to unmute him. Where'd he go?
Okay. So my laptop sound is not coming through good.
It just breaks up a little bit. I mean, it's plenty beautiful what comes through. So we'll just see if we can improve on how it comes through. So let me know if you know about that original sound setting. We can talk
Okay,
about it later.
cool. Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay. And where'd Paul go? Paul still
Great
there?
performance, really.
Yes. Fantastic. And I muted Paul and lost him. That's strange. Anybody see Paul?
Yeah, there he is. There he is.
Oh,
He's
there he is.
on now.
Okay. Are you?
Right in front of your face, I think.
You're not. I see.
Yeah,
Okay. Good. You're back.
I'm going back to the square.
Okay. Thanks again, Ria. That was beautiful. Wonderful.
Nice, thank you, honey. Yes. All right, who we got? Sunil. Sunil's going to juggle four I am that's at the same time.
Can you hear me, Paul?
I can hear you. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, good to be back on. I've been really getting that, the selfing is a program, this thing that I've been taking to be me. I've started seeing it as a program just running. And it kind of feels liberating, but then who no. But I guess really what I wanted to ask was, you talk about what we are and what we're not. Isn't that just more duality? Isn't
We're
that?
using duality. We're using duality to negate itself.
Yeah, because I can get into another dichotomy of what I am versus what I'm not. And I think this week what I started doing was even losing interest in that slightly
Yes.
and just aligning with something higher, like whether that be a higher power or the
Well,
divine
you
feminine
are
or the
aligned, or you
masculine.
are that.
Sorry?
You are that. You are that which is sort of implied as a higher power or something. There's no need for alignment of that either,
Yeah,
really.
because I mean, I've been listening to your message for a year, but I think where I was getting stuck was I was still in that duality of, oh, I'm not that and I'm this, and it was kind of like tearing me in two almost. But recently I just kind of turned away from it a bit and just started connecting more with, I think, the world, people,
Yeah.
and my understanding of a higher power, or a higher power of its own understanding. And I found that, it does come up intensely sometimes, the selfing, where it can really grab my attention, but it seems to matter less now.
Yeah, you're expressing uh, indications of relief.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
With some moments of,
There is
really,
no what you're not. It's only what we are. Yeah, but we need for what we are, we in a way have to sort of see it as two, so that you can see an aspect of something as other, and then you get back to what was always there to begin with. Yeah,
yeah.
you know what I mean? So the
Yeah. So,
appearance of
you're
what
not,
you're not is in the realm of what you are. That's all there is. Yeah.
so all there is what we are, right?
Yes, all there is what we are. But in this appearance, in the appearing, it can appear to be different. We can seem, which means it appears to be true to us, that we're what we're not. Yeah. So and then they have taken, the identification has no boundary or demarcation, so we're attempting to make one so
Yeah.
that it gets negated. Yes? Yeah.
And
It's a
Paul,
certain strategy, and your sharing is how it works out. That's sometimes how it goes. Exactly. The way you were just describing.
and it's almost like there's a shift of attention from trying to negate the what I'm not
Yeah,
into.
exactly. You lose interest in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's almost like
You
aligning
can't
with,
lose interest in it as it. That's the dilemma. Yeah. See, if what we are is a confusing activity in a sense, then we need to sort of use duality in a way to sort of negate new duality. Yeah?
Mhm.
Because a lot of times we're hearing messages as if we are already what we are with no blemish or anything else. Yeah? But in fact, what we are is seemingly split here. Yeah?
Mhm.
There's a lot of attention and interest in an activity that what you are is engaged in and it's not aware of, or it's seemingly in a closet, so to speak. Yes. So
Yeah.
we try to make it clear so that it's, instead of this, well, who am I and who am I not? Yeah. Well, let's clear it up, make it very clear, da 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 da, and then bammo, something happens. And then there's a loss of interest in the activity of selfing, which is how what we are through the activity of selfing takes itself seemingly to be something else. So now
Mhm.
you lose interest in the selfing, and therefore there's a loss of interest in self, yeah, because it's the selfing that is being used to imply the self. There is no self, yeah. There is no what you're not. It's
Yeah.
us, yeah.
Yeah.
But when what you're not and what you are is seemingly muddied here, we have to have a clearness around it. So then, yes, because it doesn't work going to a meeting and hearing all about what you are because it's being heard from what you're not. Yeah. And unbeknownst to us, then we believe, oh, I heard a great message today, but what's claimed to be the hearer of the message has already neutered the message. Yeah? That's what it was. The presentation to the lion, while it's masquerading as a sheep, to talk about the lion didn't work for me. It doesn't work. Yeah?
Yeah.
Because it reinforces the sheepness. So let's get clear. Let's call the sheepness what you're not, so that maybe you can recognize it and have a little bit of clearness and cleanness between this activity and what you are. Yeah, that the activity that what you are is seemingly engaged in. Yeah, that's the whole strategy of the talks.
Yeah. And once you've seen that, I think there comes a kind of departure point, even with, these ideas.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Do you think I'm interested in this?
Hmm.
I'm completely uninterested in it. Completely. This is a seat assignment. I show up.
Well, and
being
that,
it, being it is, being it. Why is understanding so important? Because we're not that. So when that all gets cleared up, then these things that we valued so much, like knowledge and understanding, they don't hold up. They don't hold the same value anymore. Your currency has changed. You're not on a gold standard. You are what you're looking for. So there's a lot of loss of interest in a lot of the shit that was used to try to find what I am, to try to understand what I am from what I'm not. You lose interest in all that. It's just a basic. I could write, just like I could write the script of an active alcoholic, I can write the script of someone going through the rude awakening and starting to see what they're not. The activity that keeps implying that they're this thing. I've watched it over the years. Lots of people go
well,
seemingly through
I,
it.
I've seen that in me as well, because I came into AA 14 years ago, and I was a mess, and I hear everyone else's stories, and it's the same as mine. It's the same self-think.
Exactly. It's same
And
something with a nice little like flair called alcoholism,
yeah,
which is like an electrification of the system. But yeah, the same thing. Like when you grow into something, it's similar, and then when there's a growing out of some fucking idea, it's similar. Yeah.
mm,
So yeah,
um,
exactly.
yeah. I really I really dig your message, man.
Oh, good, good.
I,
Well, yeah.
I looked as what I'm
It's
not for
yours now, bro. It's yours now.
yeah.
Yeah. You may think it's my message, but it's your message.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's the whole point. You don't, nobody here wants my message.
It's our message, right? I just love the way you present it. So
Thanks, man. Well, you got to do something. So,
mm,
I mean, if I hadn't survived those maybe 25 10-day cocaine retreats where I saw, I don't know. Yeah.
yeah,
You live to tell a tale. You can see the activity that's implying what you're not. You can see it. It's right there. Plain as day. But when we see it, its programming kicks in. Yeah. Very fast, and we're not aware of it usually. Until it gets pointed out, and now you can become aware of it. Yeah.
yeah.
The selfing is a very fast process. Some
Oh yeah,
people say it's less than a second and a half. So when something happens, and about a second later, there's been a claiming of it, and you're presented as the one it happened to. Yeah, and this is going on all day.
hmm
Yeah. So by the time 7 o'clock arrives and you go to a satsang or something, it's pretty damn entrenched, and it's going to be that which leaves thinking it was at the meeting.
yeah,
And it's going to go home and talk from a sheep's point of view about, I heard this great message. I'm a lion. I'm a lion. And then it just keeps proliferating the obscuring. Yeah.
yeah,
Until it doesn't, until there's a seeing of it, yeah? And then it keeps doing that, but it doesn't produce the effect anymore because it can't produce the effect of being self through selfing. It needs to convince us, yeah? There's a convincing, and then we image the self. We imagine the self. All selfing can do is assume, suppose, imply, insinuate. It has no ability to produce a self. None. It's just it's using our juice to sort of project its image, so to speak. Yeah.
hmm
Yeah.
and what I'm finding is that that attention is getting almost redistributed. You know.
Of course, that's part of if you're 2 levels above a coconut and you start observing shit, this is what you start observing. The interest and attention gets redistributed. Your basis of living as an action figure gets changed. You're like AA says, you'll have a new attitude and a new outlook, a new fucking da 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 da. It's almost as if you can't go into like a garage for 2 years and get re-upped, readjusted or upgrade. You do it on the roll, on the move. So you're getting upgraded. Yeah, I would hope. I like to think it's an upgrade, and there you go. You're traveling lighter. Yeah.
Right on.
You don't see most of the deliveries. You just over time you observe the effects. You don't even know what's going on in most cases. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's happening so fast. Yep.
All right, bro. Take it. Just keep. Yeah. Let's move to Malcolm. Nice to
Thank
see
you,
you,
bro.
Sunil. Yeah.
Thank you.
Paul, I just I wonder how I could have missed this in all my non-dual studies. It's like it's just been right there, but I never heard anybody say it so directly.
Well, there you go.
It's been there. All the stuff I've studied, all the retreats, all the stuff, it's been through what I'm not interpreting that and filtering that. So I wasn't getting the truth. Yeah, so one of my questions is that, I feel like I'm less of a self. There's more awareness of selfing than there was 5 or 10 years ago. But it does seem like maybe a gradual approach instead of what I'm interpreting you're saying is more of a kind of an instant seeing.
Well, no, there's every instant there's seeing. So it's not an instant of seeing. Every instant there's seeing. Seeing is the basis of instant. Yeah. So all I'm saying is there's already an inherent condition that's not being conditioned by what comes after. Yeah. Though when you think about it as that which comes after, you think it's conditioned by that which comes after, but it isn't. Yeah, that's the good news. Yeah, and see, now you've heard it. This is what happened with me personally. I went to satsangs. I felt like an unspoken yes. Yeah. And, you would have believed that should have been sufficient. But then I saw some activities that arose very quickly, and they actually played with time. They came after certain things, but they sort of leapfrog over that and assumed they were before. I couldn't believe it. And then I started to see this stuff, and then I saw the duality at satsangs. Some people were sitting in the audience thinking the guy or the woman on the stage had something they didn't have, which is duality. Yeah, the have and the have-nots, and it was persistent. And then I heard this thing I really liked from an old Zen saying, I'm like a man standing by the river selling water. Yeah. And then the guy who was sharing it said it even better. He says, I'm like a man standing in the river selling water. I never went back to that river. Because I had never left the river. Because when he said that, that statement captured what I was doing. I was there trying to buy some water from a guy who I thought was in the river, while I'm a river denizen. But I'm assuming that I'm not. So I'll give it to him or her that they are, but I'll never give it to me. I actually want someone else to be in the river to make them special so that I can resent the shit out of them when they disappoint me, which they're apt to do. So I can get to be right that I'm not in the river. And they're not in the river. But you see it. And hopefully, I saw it and it hadn't been put together. And then I read some stuff, Ramana Maharshi, and he never wrote a book in English or anything. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people wrote books and then he were translated about his teachings. And he said something that I was feeling. This presupposing of something that you're not, basically, and then that something you're not is trying to get salvation for itself. Not knowing this, the spiritual practices it's endorsing and using are reinforcing itself, which is its real agenda. How can they destroy it? Now, the part of me that thinks I am, was thinking innocently that my spiritual practices were destroying that which I'm not. I didn't know I was looking at what I'm not as what I'm not. You know what I mean? But then when I saw it, I knew it. And then I got about 5 more examples of knowing it. where I could see something was mechanical and so fast that you can't use any process of time to beat it. It's just too quick. Yeah. So what's one to do? Well, maybe, just maybe, I'm not in the position I think I'm in. Maybe I'm at the position where I want to arrive at. Maybe I'm already there. And it basically, it was entertained and it became obvious that was true. Yeah. By observing the redistribution of interest and shit like that. And that suddenly, instead of feeling this movement constantly pushing me day in and day out, I felt acceptance, which was like a stopping almost of that slavery of having to get more, to know more, to do more, da da da. To try to get some mental okayness based on jumping through 800 fucking thousand hoops, and those hoops can be changed at any second. Yeah. So
Exhausting.
like a slavery I didn't know I was under until it stopped, and then I knew it, and then I could see why it went, not by being in the slavery but being freed from it. I could see what it was from the solution. Yeah. I could see it, and I could see the mental state plays with time. Something that's obviously after conscious contact is implied to be before conscious contact, and is stating as if it's a fact that it's the seer, the hearer, the feeler, the taster, the toucher. That somehow the body is doing the non-body activities of seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. And then I'd hear Huang Po say, hey, whatever can be perceived, and this body's one of them, can't be that which is perceiving, which is totally a negation of the whole basis of the narration, completely. Because the narration all day is that I'm what's perceiving. That's what it's so. I trusted Huang Po more than me, and then which I'm wearing them now. And so it just made it was just like, I got convinced, yeah, just fuck it, There's no way, yeah, just fuck it. My spiritual pants fell down and I just didn't pick them up. I didn't. I just said, people would call me, there's a great teacher in town. Or they call me, you really missed it. I said, oh, that's okay. I missed it. I missed a lot of shit. You know what I mean? And I just stuck with it and let the chips fall where they may. And I mean, really. So I got to see a lot, And then because I have a seat assignment, more gets revealed. It's not to me, it's for us, really. It has nothing to do with me. Yeah. Because I lost interest years ago. I realized, when I used to give talks, the action figure and the head would be there. And it was, when you're saying nothing, you're going to get nothing. It really believed there was something in it. It did.
Yeah.
And then one year, about 9 or 10 years ago, it was very clear. No, that's true. I'm never fucking getting anything. And if it was the power to be, it would have stopped going to talks. But it had nothing to do with this. Something was directing the whole show. This thought it had a major say in it, but it doesn't have a major say. You know what I mean? It's just used for transportation. Yeah, that's all. So it's grown into acceptance of that new position. It's probably really not happy about it whatsoever. But it's in a powerless position. It's really not up to it. So, yeah. But thanks, Malcolm. Yes. Remember the selfing implies the self. And then the language will speak as if the self is selfing. It will. So just know that. The language is a subjective language used by objects. Very, it's really the way a lot of shit's reinforced all day. Yeah? Yeah. Or
It
can
seems
be.
like all I can really do is just relax and don't try to do anything. And when I do that, just relax and listen, take it in, then sometimes it's just right there. I know it's always there, but sometimes it's revealed. It's like a very yin thing. Seems like just to stop trying to get something and do something, and it's almost like I lean back a little bit
Well,
inside.
really listen, just so you're not that which is trying to get something, because there will be a trying to get something.
Yeah.
It'll just get more subtle, but there's that urge is there, maybe for 80 years. It has a little pulse, and it's going to keep, try and come from the cellar door, the skylight, the side door. It's going to dress up in nice robes or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah, just see it's not you, really. I don't wait for it to stop trying shit. It's going to do what it does,
Yeah.
but I'm not that, so yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thanks, Malcolm. We have Natalie by chat. Can you unmute yourself, Natalie?
I see Natalie.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Hi. Oh, thank you so much. I don't know how to start. Everything you shared now was like so what I've been through. And this quarantine gave me the chance to really see what was very important for me was the claiming. What you said about the claiming. I saw really what I was doing all these years, because I was also in a spiritual path and satsangs and everything, and done with self-inquiry. And then at some point, what happens here is an experience that I cannot call it experience. Is what do you say? It's like you just drop. You just at some point, I feel it after intense doing. And then I just sit and to relax, and then I'm just poof, I'm just in the emptiness. It's like there is no ego, there is no thought, there is nothing. And it's just peace, I can call it. And then I saw when it's coming, the observer is coming.
Yeah.
Is coming into the picture. And this is what you say when you got it, you caught it, the first time or the second time, I don't know.
Yeah.
But now when it happens more often. It's like I just don't do anything. I mean, I cannot do anything. It's so amazing. And I don't know. It's really magical. I just had an incident today that I got another no for a job, because I'm waiting to work for some months because I work in the hotel industry and whatever. That I got this rejection feeling, but there was no story going on like always, because I was like always in this ship identity. But there was just a voice coming, like intuition or something from, I don't know, from somewhere, but saying that this is the identity. It's trying to pull you to this identity. To make a story, poor little me, nobody wants me, everybody's rejecting me. What I'm gonna do? But it's really amazing. Everything you say is so true. I feel blessed to be in these meetings, and for me it's difficult because I want to share, but I'm in a kind of isolation because I cannot connect with people in this level. I feel them. I feel people that are in this, because I can see it. It's boring. It's really boring. And I was trying to get a language or how to communicate, whatever. But I lost interest in that. I also wanted to. I was in a point where I was like, I was jealous in the beginning when I was watching you, that I want to become you. It's the same thing that happens also with other teachers that I sat, that I really want to have this, that people are listening to me like this. But with you, it was like so direct, the message and everything was resonating, that I lost interest in that, in becoming like you and helping my people back in my country to wake up. And it's just like something that happens that I'm not planning it. It's just poof, and that's the right thing. So thank you so much.
Well, bingo. Natalie Square, bingo. Yes. Thank you, Natalie. Yes. Yes on everything you said. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I was a bit nervous before. Like, oh, I'm gonna talk now, and everybody's gonna listen, but it just when you put yourself to be available, I think then it just works through you.
Yes.
You cannot really plan anything. I
No.
just come to the conclusion, whatever I was planning in my life didn't come out, because this was this selfing doing it.
Yes. You'll be pleasantly surprised by the planning when it's not yours. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm planning in the winter to come to Costa Rica, and then I want to come and visit you.
Oh, good. Yes. Yeah.
Because I cannot
Where are you
donate
from,
through
Natalie? Where are you from?
Greece,
Oh, Greece. Oh, great. Great.
but now I'm in Austria.
In Austria. Wow. Wow. You're getting around. Well, you'll be here sooner than you think.
But no retreat in Costa Rica, just in a community to work as a volunteer and learn permaculture.
Yeah.
Interested to. I mean, I don't see myself living in this world anymore. It was my whole theme when I was little. It was like, what's going on here? It's so fake. I mean, I cannot live here. It's not my thing. It's not recently that I see my role in why I'm here.
Great.
It's pretty amazing.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very
Thank
good.
everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a lifetime member of Zen Bitch Lab, so.
Oh my God. Yeah, I got your Zen Beach Lab the last time. The first time I came to this meeting, when you said my name so many times, I got slapped so many times. It was like, I was laughing afterwards. The Natalie. It was amazing.
All right, Natalie. See you. Yes.
Another thanks, Natalie. I guess Jahira is next.
Hera.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just curious about well, last time I talked to you about how I'm noticing the story more. So you kind of cut me off and you were like, okay, that's all you need to say. Can you hear me?
I do hear you, yes.
Okay.
I'm trying to find you.
Oh, okay. So I guess, like, with all the shit that's going on. Yeah, I'm talking on the phone. With all the shit that's going on with the protests and everything, I'm curious about, like, well, I guess the me is saying I should care more, or I should do something, being irresponsible, because I really just kind of just shut everything out. I don't watch the news. I don't know what's going on, but I know that there's like massive protests and everything going on. So the me is saying, you should do something, and that's so irresponsible of you. So I was just wondering, like, what is your perception of what's happening with that stuff? Like, is it just a bunch of like selfing going on? Like people are just fighting for their selves? Like they're just,
You know, I don't want to go there.
or is it just like, I don't know, right? Because then sometimes I'm like, I just don't know. Like to try to figure it out is just also like, just the me trying to figure it out.
Yeah. No, I don't. In these talks, we don't have any opinion on outside stuff, like we say in AA. I sort of like to stick it that way. And sort of, actually, I'm proud that we've never mentioned it, all the stuff that's happening for the last few weeks in the talk. So, and of course, you already saw what you're not a few times by your saying it, yeah. And then, so maybe the next step would be, so you see the selfing saying you should do something, and then maybe see the one that says it saw that as not you too, yeah? So see the aperture opens up and then locks. If you can see that lock, then the aperture will open up more, yeah? Yes? So a lot of people start seeing the selfing, but they don't see that there's been a claiming of being the one who's seeing the selfing. And if you can just let it go back a few settings, then there's a panoramic view, so to speak, becomes available. Yeah, it's always available, but then you have a new setting that's panoramic, so to speak. Yeah, that you may not be aware of. But no, I don't want to talk about it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Yep.
Thank you. Anybody else want to raise their hand?
Oh, there's Richard. Richard from London. Nice to see you, Richard. Topher's got a suit and tie on. Yeah.
It's a picture.
Oh, it's a picture, huh? He's got a very still posture. He hasn't moved in an hour. There's Rob. No one has anything to say? Fantastic.
Question.
Oh,
Okay, hi, Paul.
who's this?
So, Imad, this is Imad. Do you hear me?
I do. I'm going to try to find you.
All right. So,
I can hear you.
okay, so seeing what you're not, to me, it almost appears that who is not is seeing who's not. Because there's always, the me is there, and I struggle with that. It's like,
But who struggles with that, Ahmad? You're stuck in a little bit of a dog eating its own tail.
there's no separation almost. It happens so fast, I guess the realization arises and it's claimed immediately, and then it almost reinforces the who's not, basically.
It can be used that way, yes, but now you can, with this information, you may see it instead of be looking from it, and then more gets revealed. And of course, it's a negation of both. So there's the idea of the seer, and then the seer becomes the seen, and then there's another seer, and that's negated, yes?
Right.
Because there is no seer or a seen. It's a mechanical activity. So you catch both of its polarities. And in seeing that, you're neither, yeah? See, what I find with you, your head is very active, so it starts fucking itself. Yeah.
Well, that was my second thing, is like, I think I asked you last time, because the thoughts just keep going. Sometimes I don't even sleep. I wake up and my mind is just goes on, it's like,
yeah.
the mental activity is.
Don't get too obsessed about this as a topic or a subject. Remember, this is an invitation. Yeah, an invitation. Now, I know I've met some people who feel, and it's not the people, there's a feeling that they just jump in and they do a lot. They read tons of shit and they listen to 12 hours of talks and shit like that. That's, more is not applicable in this topic, yeah? More. It isn't, yeah? This is an invitation because there's nothing that has to be built or unbuilt. The fact is the fact is the fact is the fact is the fact. I don't care where you think you are looking at it and that being implied as a fact. There's just the fact, yeah? You are what you're looking for in a sense, yes? That's the fact. And so basically, from another point of view, we believe the more we do, the more this, the more that, we're going to get closer to the fact. But being the fact, it can actually reinforce that you were far away, yeah? Which you're not. The sense of being far away from what you are is not a fact. It's false evidence appearing real to a fact, yeah? Now, the fact, if you see it from the fact, you'll see it as false evidence. If you see it as from the selfing activity, you're going to see it as evidence, yeah? It's going to be evidence that there's another fact, which is not true, yeah? So a lot of times I meet people and, you know, they should take a break. I'm not saying you, but they should take a break on studying non-duality, yeah? They should just have a little faith in the process. The subpoena has been served. The invitation has got in there. You don't have to hover over it and try to blow the ember into a fucking forest fire. It's going to light up what's going to be lit up, yeah? And then there's a whole different, it's more of a disarming, not a call to arms, yes? Finally. It's the greatest message if it's not misconstrued, because it really ignites a disarming. You realize the impossibility of getting it, understanding it, grokking it, fucking, acquiring it. You really do, sooner or later. And then their whole system, all that coiledness just lets go. And then that which you were trying to get so hard is readily available. And then you'll realize exactly what we've been sharing was true. It's not true anymore because something has been seen, but it was true. Our description of the mental activities was true. Yeah? You'll see that not from the mental activity, you'll see it from some other point. Yeah? And you're not going to get that other point through the mental activities. You're not. You're not going to get it, bro. It isn't. Because you are it. Seriously. It's true. If you're going to meetings of non-duality and the premise is that the premise isn't that you are that, then that to me isn't non-duality in a sense, yeah. I mean, the seeker is the sought. What's looking is what you're looking for. So we are inherently the state that non-duality is a negation of another state from, yeah? We are that state that non-duality is negating the other state about. I'm not putting it right. But we are that, yes? We are that. So sometimes it's good just to chill out. Yeah, chill out. Yes, and then when you stop looking so hard, you'll see. Yeah, it's just the way it goes a lot of the time. So, yeah, don't be so keen on trying to find yourself. That's the selfing right there. Yeah.
Right.
And don't get into this convoluted up the ass thing, which one, blah, blah, blah. Just let the dominoes fall. I've watched this thousands of times with people. Yeah? Yeah. that you can't see what you're not. There's only an activity that's going on being used to imply something. There's no something there. Yeah? So the statement, seeing what you're not, is you're not seeing fucking anything. That's it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
Hey, you're welcome, my friend.
Thanks, Imad. Sharon wants to ask something. Sharon, you know how to unmute yourself, right?
Sharon? Is it this Sharon? Yes.
We only have our Sharon here, yeah.
Yeah.
There she goes.
Okay, it's just a technical, and it's probably nothing. So, conscious contact. Where did he go? He left.
Oh, no, I got lost. Hold on. I lost conscious contact with the Zoom. There you go.
All right. So, conscious contact. I just want to clarify your, because I've just always accepted that. I just want to clarify your definition of conscious contact. I think it's the senses. It's just, is that correct? I just want to make sure.
Well, it's not the senses. It's what's moving. It's not the senses. It's what's moving through the senses. Consciousness, let's say.
Okay, so it's conscious. Okay, so there's conscious contact and then the selfing. And then the selfing will.
Yes. Conscious contact and then selfing.
Okay. Just a little thing got it.
Yeah. The selfing is an act of claiming the conscious contact and forgetting about the seeing and emphasizing the seer seen narrative. Yeah. Yeah.
Got it.
So we get the attention and interest gets fixed at another point where it would readily be resting on seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. The mental state seems to move it over to see or seen, hear or heard. Yeah. Yeah. And then that mental state, the act of identification is a trip because the mental state reinforces the reality of what it's in by appearing to so want to get out of it. Yeah. Yeah. So you don't see the self getting out of self is its whole drive. But we have trouble with that because we don't see one of the self as what we're not. We call it you or me trying to get out of self. Now, me trying to get out of self was the whole basis of my active addiction. Paul, which didn't believe it was self, wanted to get out of self and it believed fervently that it could get out of self. Unfortunately, Paul was AKA self, getting out of self. So when Paul read the statement, self cannot get out of self, it understood it, but it understood it as Paul. It didn't see it as self. Yeah?
Yeah.
So, because my whole life was trying to get out of me as me. Since I've been about 6 or 7, really, a lot. So yeah. So the self can't get out of self is an observation, really, of the primary programming of the mental state because it doesn't get that. It believes it's you and you can get out of self. It does. It doesn't see itself as self. It sees itself as you. And you, right, being affected by this thing called self or selfing, wants to get out of it. And it sees it as other than it, so it figures, I can get out of here. But it's the same, yes?
Yeah, it's like it starts to clone itself.
Exactly. It's a projection of the system that wants to get out of the system. Yeah, but see, the projection of the system is placed as being out of the system already. And it just somehow fell into the system and now it wants to get out of it. Yeah. So it has a huge story that if I only could get out of this, everything would be great. Which fuels wanting to get out of it even more, which actually reinforces the in. Yeah?
It's funny.
Unbeknownst to us. See, without knowing it, this is the agenda. So most people don't realize that they want to get out of their idea. Why they want to get into something so much is they want to get out of something, basically. We don't see the getting out of something. We just think, oh, I want to get into this and this and this. But there's a dualistic movement of wanting to get out of something all day. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if it would just be corrected, if you could see Paul as self or selfing, yeah, it would make complete sense. Your whole life would come under review from that view and would give you so much knowledge. You would see, you'd be convinced self can't get out of self. Because Paul tried to get out of self tons of times and never succeeded. Yeah? Why? Is Paul that bad? Is Paul that terrible? Is Paul that dysfunctional? No, there is no Paul. That's the personal emblem of selfing called Paul. And yeah, so if you take the emblem off, all the cars look the same. It's Sharon, Paul, Mike. We think it's a different fucking vehicle. Yeah. Once you take the emblem off, you see self can't get out of self. Hallelujah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a rest. I mean, there's a relaxation then, I swear. I mean, muscles that have never been uncontracted loosen up. They do. Your spiritual sphincter opens. Finally. It's been held tight for so long. It finally just unpuckers. And you're really completely here. Completely. No escape, nothing. Yeah. Because now, yeah, instead of Paul getting out of self, you realized you were never in Paul. Yeah? Yeah. You see it though? It's an important little move. It's the same move, but seen differently. Instead of getting out of self as Paul, there's a losing interest in Paul getting out of self. And that's, yeah. The out is before the in and out, yeah? The real out is a state. That's not a dualistic one. There's an in and out, in and out, in and out, but there's an out before the in, the first in, let's say. Yeah, and that's where we're from, basically. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Sharon. Jono's up.
Jono, how did I know you were going to ask a question? Because I see your little name down below.
Thanks, Mike. Hi, Paul. I think you've just already answered it. I was going to say, now we can see what we're not. It's like what I was not was never there. But it obviously was because I've lived it. But I've got to.
It was you. Like the Fight Club. It was you throwing all the punches.
Yeah. So then it gets me curious. Like, is there any other levels, or is that me jumping back into a self or another self, or so I just chill out, like you've been saying?
I have to. Somebody just sneezed, and she's got a very loud sneeze right here. So say that again, Jono.
What was the last bit you heard?
Eh?
What was the last bit you heard?
The last thing I had was getting out of self.
Yeah. Now we can see what I was not. It feels like I was never in it, but I've lived it, and now I'm thinking, is there another level to this, or like you've been saying, shall I just chill out? I'm just getting too curious.
Chill out is
another self.
Who knows? You'll find out. Yeah.
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 Cool.
But maybe there's many levels, but it's in the same home, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that sense of rest is based on you've come across something that's truly reliable. Yeah. In other words, my idea of the higher power in AA framing is it's always available at all times, right where I am, with no requirement necessary to meet it. That's a very reassuring state. Yeah.
Right.
Where when we're resting in the head or relying on the head, there's no place to rest your head because we're trying to have a real thing based on sand. It just shakes. Yeah, it's just so. Just like faith, you know, faith put into the thought system produces the anxiety that we seem to suffer from. It's only faith. Yeah, false evidence cannot produce an effect. Yeah, false evidence. Yeah. But us believing in false evidence can seem to produce an effect. Yes?
Right.
So faith is is a dynamic force in this place of dreaming. Yeah? And the faith is going to manifest in the vehicle it's put in. So I've seen enough of what the head can do with faith. Yeah? The thought system fucking paralyzing me about something that may happen in the future, yeah? Something crucifying me about shit that maybe never even happened in the past and I believe I did. You know, I've seen the power of faith through thought. Not thought, but faith, yeah? Now that faith has been shifted off of Paul or self and has been moved to something else, like in recovery we would call it the infinite. Yeah? So now that faith is there's a faith in something that's worthy of faith, that is reliable. Yeah? And therefore the faith isn't producing the opposite effects I wanted. It's actually putting me in a state of ease and comfort and aligned. Like in Zen they would say blue is blue and red is red. Yeah? And these metaphysical angst questions have no meaning to me anymore. All my spiritual seeking ended completely. Yeah? Who would have thunk? Yeah? Who would have thunk that that drive could be totally neutered and I'd be established in a sense of okayness? Not produced by what I did or what I said or what I have. Yeah? But just a basic inherent okayness, yeah, which can outshine all the other shit going on, yeah. Now I don't get out of jail free. It's not a get out of jail free card, but I tell you, I've observed Paul, the action figure, and Paul has traveled mightily lighter over the years, yeah, without much demand or effort or thought, just a recognition of what is and what ain't has allowed a traveling lighter through what was in store for Paul as up to this moment, yeah? And I have an assurance that that traveling lighter will be available no matter what happens. I just have that assurance, yeah? So, I mean, what more do we really want? I don't want to travel to other levels. I just want to travel lighter at this level. Really. My wanting to go to other levels is trying to get out of this level. I realize I can't get out of here. So, hey, where's the value? At least I can travel later through this event. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been trying to get out of it since I was 6 years old. It didn't work. You know, after all the years of blaming me or the Coke wasn't good enough. No, the Coke was great. Everything was great. The masters had beautiful messages and had nothing to do with nothing. Yeah? You know what I mean? I can't get out of an imaginary place. It's impossible. Yeah? So all the blame and all the shame just deteriorated, disappeared through the recognition of what actually is happening here. Yeah? Yeah. That's what we need. There's something that we're living without knowing it, yeah? That would be very valuable if we could see it. Yeah. So we could see there's no difference between Paul and self. It's just a personalized version of selfing, Paul, yeah? There's no difference. And then when I heard the statement, self can't get out of self, or you can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha, it lands beautifully now, yeah? Yeah.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jono. Kurt's up.
Hey, Paul, good to see you.
Hey, Kurt.
I love the statement you made. I think maybe 6 months ago when you came down here and you talked in the office and you said, "Thank God I'm not suffering from what's not happening anymore."
Yes.
And you know, when you said that, that just hit me. Like, I'm not creating all these stories about life. There's like this. I don't even know how to say it. You start seeing from seeing.
Yeah.
You don't see from me seeing, you see from seeing. And there's a resting in that, would you say? Like
yes.
And the traveling lighter thing. I mean, I think that message speaks to so many people. But that looping that you said, you were talking about earlier, where it goes back into a loop. It's like, I mean, what else is there? I tell people a lot of times, I'll say, look, I thought there was a move on the chessboard I could make. There had to be this move where I could win that game. And then I realized, friggin', I don't have to play the chess anymore. And that was kind of the resting, you know?
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you doing these talks. And you know, a lot of people, we've sent a lot of people to the website, and it's been really beneficial. So thank you very much.
Great. Thank you for all the support. And I have a healthy respect for you. It's great. I hope I see you soon. And the beauty about seeing is it doesn't want more seeing. Seeing is more than enough. Yeah. It's not like a taste and then it introduces an installment plan where you can build up to more and more seeing. It's not like that.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of it. The beauty of it, it's complete in its lack of movement, so to speak. It just is. Yes. Yeah. It's not proceeding to be more is or fearing it can be less is. It just is. It's incredible. It has such a soothing effect on the agitated action figure, in my experience with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's like the epitome of enough. Yeah.
Right.
It is. Right. It's yeah. It's like what everyone wanted to arrive at by shooting coke, a satiation and a stabilization of a very ephemeral high. Yeah. That's emphasis was coming and going. Boom. Yeah. It was all fucking fool's gold. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. In the program, like they have that statement, the unsuspected inner resource.
Yeah. Now it's suspected.
Yeah. Right. Right.
More than suspected, it's assured.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. That's the whole point. Yeah. Perhaps there's a better way, you know? Yeah. Yeah, I'm all for it. All right, bro. It's nice to see you. James, my main man. Mike, unmute James.
Oh. Yeah, hey. Gosh, so little to there's so little to add. I'm gonna see if I can squeeze something in just because I want to, but just to echo what Kurt said, though, man, he put it in a way I hadn't heard it before, but that was great. That well, now I can't remember it, but What I was gonna say though to the folks that have been, I'm sorry, I've been up all night following Dave and Daz around the world to different AA meetings, starting at 2 a.m. with the old school Scottish, AA that's so fundamental, and everyone sounds like Glenda and Jono, to now where there's, but anyway, I just wanted to say that I chewed on this stuff for so long and just, just chewed on it and tried to figure it out with the action figurehead, and eventually got the message from people like Paul to just like over time, the AA process revealed itself. I was one of those slowly, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. I was one of those slowly cooker people. This is kind of a slowly cooker people thing for me. I just notice over time, it sinks in more and more. I don't want to use the spiritual sperm metaphor again, but if you just let Paul have his way with you.
Yes.
Watch the videos, participate in the meetings, and stuff happens. And you don't have to think it through. You don't have to chew on it so hard like I've done. So anyway, thanks, guys.
Yeah, this is a very powerful concoction, the Zooming. It is. It's amazing, at least how I sense it here, what's happening. It's really cool. Because we have no idea what we're going to talk about, and yet we have a 2-hour meeting, or whatever. It's pretty cool. But I've always noticed with the talks, there's such an energy, such something, yeah? And I'd hoped it would be able to, I like the live the most, but then I thought video was the secondary best. But so hopefully that I wouldn't get lost in the transmission, but I don't feel it is with the Zooms. So that's really cool. Yeah. Because that's the real impression. All the words are just like sending something around the corner for a half an hour so something can occur. Yeah. So, yeah. And like communication. A certain level of communication has such a frequency. It's really awesome. Really is. So, all right, let's see. Anyone else? Or we got Luis, and then that will be it, I think.
Hello. Hello,
There's
Paul.
Joyce. Nice to see you. All right, let me find you. We can hear you, Luis.
Yeah.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want to share. I think today there's this, the question is like, what are you talking about? What is this? What am I doing here? And what are they talking about? So and to your point, like, it's as if there is this pure transmission going on. There's like, I'm feeling so nice and there's so much peace and presence. And then there's this talk about like, what's selfing? What is selfing? Like, why are we talking about this?
It's working. It's working, Luis.
Yeah, no, yeah, for sure. But I wanted to share because it's like, what is going on? Yeah, thank you.
That was good. We should end on that note.
I feel simpatico with
Let me say, Luis, thank you for that share. That was good, yeah. Dimitri, nice to see you up there. Johans, James, get some sleep. Paula, I lost Paula, Mick. Luis is again. Sunil, nice to see you. Kurt, thank you so much. Nick, I don't know, you're in this wherever. Dennis, let me see. Then we have Joyce, nice to see you, Joyce, and Nick. Richard and Etta, nice to see you, Richard. Mickey, Ann, Malcolm's doing all right. Randy, fantastic, Randy. Nice to see you again. I see some, hold on. The squares keep moving. Maria's now in a car after she did her workout, I guess. Yeah, all right. It's good. I'm happy we went through all the phases. Pre-workout, workout, now driving from the workout. Good. We're always going to be here for you. We got Rob. Nice to see you, Rob, like always. Joyce, silence is golden.
What?
We got Danny Mall somewhere. He's in the dark, but I don't know what the hell he's doing over there. He's fucking, he's poaching. If I could. We got Kelly. Kelly's in some beautiful area, or a picture of it. We got Sue as the robed frog. I like that. Jahira. Oh, me. Yeah, me. Nice to see you, me. Sarah Cohen, Nico, Mike's iPad, just some numbers. I don't know what that is. Rob again, Maria's, what? You were in the car a second ago, now you're in the house. Wow, wow. How's that? How did that happen so fast? We got Luis, just keep sensing the presence, bro. Dennis, James, Johans, Nick, Kurt again, Dimitri again. Gary, get back in that corner, Gary. Becky, Sunil, Drew. I got one of the shirts, the Hoang Po. I like it.
Wearing the same shirt.
Oh, good. Yeah, you got it in the blue. Fantastic. We got Amelia. She's right next to me. Well, Andre, George, Sean. Nice to see you, Sean. Mike, Glenda O'Driscoll, Glenda, Natalie. Don't leave the planet yet, Natalie. You have a couple of seat assignments. Z, Zlatko, Roman, Yariv. Mike is relaxed as always. Christine, nice to see you, Christine. Chris, nice to see you, Chris. Always a pleasure. And then Mike C. Mike C is the one who does all this. Him and David does the recovery ones. Judith, fantastic. Nice to see you, honey. Vlad, I hope to see you soon, Vlad. Yeah? Ben, nice to see you. You're rehabilitating. It's good. Jono, Norman, always good to see you, Norman. Sharon, again, thank you. Sonny, say hello to your daughter. Tell her thanks very much.
Thank
What
you.
a pleasure. And I'll see you guys later. And I think they're going to continue the meeting. I'm going to take a break. And I'll see you guys.
Thanks, Paul.
Again, Wednesdays, Saturdays, Tuesdays, Thursdays. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
See you, Mike. Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Yes.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Yeah, Louise, sometimes I think he just, like, there's a bunch of talk to distract like while the grown-ups are talking, he gives stuff for the children to do or something. I don't know how it works, but
Yeah, that's what he says.
there's
Exactly like that. Basically, yeah. It keeps the mental level of the mind busy trying to catch, and while it's doing that, some things can slip through to this.
Yeah. Every now I feel like there was a conversation that went on I wasn't really a part of.
Did you hear Amelia?
I didn't hear understand. What did she say?
Simpatico. She
It's
said
Louis.
simpatico.
When
Right?
Louis was talking, she's like, I'm totally with you. Did you? That's his girlfriend, Amelia. You know? I thought it was funniest thing. No, nobody heard that.
What was he saying? I missed it.
She said, "What were you saying, Louis? You were saying that I don't know what you're talking about with this selfie."
Yeah, exactly.
And then
Oh,
Amelia in the background was like, "I'm simpatico. I'm with."
Oh, I heard the simpatico. Okay, I get it now. Yeah.
That was beautiful.
That was beautiful because when the selfing is trying to get busy, to not listen, to not hear or or feel the vibration coming through, those words are really fantastic. But then it's beyond the word, and when he's just fantastic.
Yeah, it's because I think it's because it's this, like, you're not gonna figure it out. You will never figure it out. And there's this resting where, like, you're not gonna get it ever.
Well put. Well,
How are you trying to get it?
that's it.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I'm gonna go. See you guys. Thanks for
Bye,
being
Sharon.
here.
Bye, Sharon. Question, Sharon. Oh, Sharon, hey, I was going to tell you something real quick. It took me forever to discover because I'm not a Zoom master, but if you can hit the little participants and then it's got like a little hand, you can click on it and and then Mike knows you're waving at him.
Thank you. I got to know, was that your note? Or was
Yeah, that was for
Thank
me.
you.
Because I can see you're trying to like, and people do that. And I was like trying to do it for a while, and then they go, all right, well, we'll see y'all later. And I was like, no. And then I realized, oh, you're supposed to click that little thing. And I was like, okay. So I figured I'd demystify that for you.
Yeah, we should have little, for the remedial ones of us.
Yes. Well, none of us want to admit we're the remedial ones. So. Although here, I'm not afraid to admit how
yeah.
I am.
Well, just wait. Sharon's going to show us how she still has to figure out how to close her meeting.
Oh, all right. She says the meeting's over for me.
Watch this.
You got it now? She got it.
See you guys.
Bye, James.
Bye. Oh, kiss is being blown. All right.
Bye, Luna.
Thank you. Here, all right. She wants to be seen. She's such a ham bone. All right, go ahead, do your thing. Do it.
Such a cute ham bone. Oh,
yeah.
Here comes the kiss.
There you go.
Oh, there.
All right. I love you guys. Thank you.
Love you.
She is adorable.
Bye. Thank you.